A war is brewing in Ukraine as Russian troops continue to enter the Crimean Peninsula, even with a Russian vessel, a Russian Navy vessel, boarding a Ukrainian one and issuing a decree that they should surrender. This is just incredible what is developing here in Ukraine, Lewis. Moscow has defended parliament's approval of Vladimir Putin, the president's use of military force to, quote, protect its citizens in the Crimean Peninsula, which is this autonomous region of eastern Ukraine, which has much stronger loyalty to Russia than does western Ukraine. And G8 partners are condemning this military activation. In Kiev, the Ukrainian Prime Minister, Arseniy Yatsenyuk, has accused Moscow of declaring war and is vowing that his west-leaning government is simply not going to give up the Crimean region. Ukraine has this pretty shaky new government, and they've mobilized the troops that they can. They've called up military reservists, and this is going in a very, very clear direction, which is towards a military conflict. Now, Ukraine also put its armed forces on what is called full combat alert, and they are saying to Russia that any military intervention in Ukraine would lead to war. We've already seen this intervention. We've talked about the Russian groups taking over buildings in Crimea. We've now seen this incident happen on the waters off the coast. And there was a 3-hour meeting with security and defense chiefs, and acting President Alexander Turchinov said there is no justification at all for what he is characterizing as Russian aggression against his country. If you ever needed stronger evidence that you should align more with the European Union in spite of these right-wing nationalist elements that have slightly pervaded the European Union, right? In spite of that, there is no stronger evidence that your alignment should be with the EU over Russia than the fact that when a small power vacuum exists, Russia invades your country.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good summarization. It's a really bad situation for the Ukraine.
And Lewis, again, remember, it's Ukraine, not the Ukraine. Lewis keeps taking
Ukraine.
heat for this in the email. The Ukraine refers to when it was part of the the USSR. We say Ukraine only, Ukraine.
Oh, really? Okay. For Ukraine. Excuse me. Being an English speaker, it's just weird. Usually there is a the before something like that starts with a U.
Well,
right?
what the Ukraine means is the borderlands or the border regions, when the Ukraine was literally the border regions of the USSR. But now it is a country. It is Ukraine.
Right. Anyway, if it does come to a war, I think the only hope that Ukraine would have is if they have the backing of the entire European Union, because there's just no way they stand a chance against Russia at all.